I'm Allison. Thanks for joining me for Where I'm From 109 with Angie. What have you been reading? I have read I Miss You When I Blink by Mary Laura Philpott, who is an essayist. She's a New York Times and all those fancy places. And I read it because I heard it was funny. And I realized yet again that unless you are Samantha Irby, usually essays, even funny ones, are, not hilarious, but enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I'm going to read her next book, Bomb Shelter. It's really about recovering perfectionism, anxiety, and I can relate. Being a recovering perfectionist, I can relate to that very well because it's something that definitely follows you. Hi, Sonia. And, and I'm inviting Angie. I mean, you know what I'm doing probably if you've watched these before. I'm inviting someone. Um, but I also just love this title. I miss you when I blink. It's something her child said to her and it stuck with her, and I think it's a really sweet. I see that you're unable to join, Angie. It's telling me you're unable to join. I'm going to invite you again and see if that helps. If not, we can just start over. Um, um, and I see also, Angie, that you're on a different. Oh, here you are. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm crazy.
I can see. Is that the top of your car?
Yeah, this is my car because my doggy has to get a shot.
Oh.
So I'm going to take her to the vet.
Okay.
So, but you can drive. What is it? What was uh the show on Jimmy Corden when he would
Oh
do
yeah.
car
Carpool
karaoke or
karaoke.
whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're not going to sing,
Okay. Thank God.
but
At least on my behalf, if you want to sing,
no,
please
no,
feel free
no.
to do so.
We're not going to sing because then the dog starts to howl, which tells you how much she loves my singing.
I think she's joining in. That's how I would interpret that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Sure. Yeah.
Yes. This is what I'm choosing.
So how are you?
I'm pretty good. Yeah.
Good.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm grateful for all the days that we get here. Do we get to see the dog? Does the
Yeah,
dog
you
make a
will.
special appearance?
Yep. As soon as I get to a safe place to pull
Okay.
over, because this traffic is bad, but I had to start. That was the hardest part, though. So, my dog is old,
Uh-huh.
um, which is a good thing,
Yeah.
and she has hip problems,
Mm-hmm.
just like her mommy. And so getting her into the car is really a struggle, so that was the main part. Anywho, now what?
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
Angie,
later we'll
how
see
did
the
we
dog.
find each other? How did we find each other? I was trying to remember. You are a friend
Oh,
of?
no, somebody recommended you to me, and
Yes.
that um,
Can-
was it? I'm trying to think of I'm very happy that I have such a wide community
Yeah.
of people because I am a conference junkie.
Are you?
So I've gone to writing conferences all over the country
Mhm.
because, and this is a funny story, not funny story, but a sweet, heartwarming story. My mother, when I had my kids, said that one of the things she always wished is that she could have some time alone.
Relatable. That's relatable.
Right, right. It is.
Hmm.
It was now, at
Yeah.
the time, because now I could see. Yeah, kids are a big deal,
Yeah.
and they're it's a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
And you don't get time to yourself
Yeah.
because they're always needing something.
Yeah.
So she said that
Yes.
her gift to me, my kids for a week every year over the summer. I just had to get them to Chicago, and it was so
Hmm.
funny because my in-laws lived there too, so they got caught up in the whole thing, and so my kids were just spoiled ridiculously all week by their grandparents.
Hmm.
Um, I'm going to do that as a stories from the stage because it was hilarious. And so I met all these people at different conferences. I went to the Community of Writers and to Breadloaf and to Southampton and,
Mm-hmm.
the Iowa Summer Writing Festival. And so I met a lot of people, and now it's so easy to keep in touch.
Yes, it
I still
is.
know them.
Yes. Yeah, that's wonderful. I love that your mom did that for you. My mom was very much like, you've got to take care of yourself. She would tell me that. Like, you got, not like in a way like you're on your own, but like,
Oh,
if you're
okay.
thinking about doing
Like,
this,
yeah,
like, do it. If you're thinking
yeah,
about doing this thing to care for yourself, do it. Like, if
right.
go do that thing, you need to do it. You need to take care of yourself because, you know, they're not, hopefully your kids aren't going anywhere, right? So you got it. This is a long haul.
Well,
You got to like
it's
care for
that whole
yourself.
thing now where it's like, put yourself first.
Yeah, your oxygen
Pay.
mask. That's the
Yes,
big one,
put your
right? Yeah.
oxygen mask on
Yep.
first, right? Or else you're just not going to be good for them. You
Yep.
know.
Yep. And it's
So,
true. And it's true
it is
in
true.
relationships in general, right? Like
Right.
we need to take care of
Exactly.
ourselves. Yes, agreed. Um, so that's so cool. You went to writers' conferences and you found community that way.
Yeah,
And it's so hard
and I
to,
still do. And now I can, I can go whenever I want because the kids are independent.
yeah.
So I'm going to Salty Quill, Maine,
Oh, wow.
on Saturday, and it's just for women,
Oh,
and
neat.
it's really cool because this is leaf peeping season, and so I'm really looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. It'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, since you aren't in a position to read your poem, I'm just going to ask you a question I ask after people read it. What was it like for you to write the poem?
I first so the other story I'll tell you is during COVID. No, right before COVID, I got fired from my job,
Yes,
and
happens.
yeah, but it happens a lot to me.
Oh,
And that's
it
because
happens in general too.
I'm
Just
a
for the record.
writer, and you don't really want to write at a job.
Mm-hmm.
You want to write, you know, and you can't write, like for a while I taught,
Mm-hmm.
and that was stressful too because it's like,
It is.
oh my goodness, I taught college thinking it would be better writing. It wasn't because our whole
Sorry.
educational system is messed up. So
Yeah.
kids don't learn
No, they don't.
grammar like we do
No.
and all that, like we did, and all that kind of stuff. And, it was just painful. So I was like, again, the kids were grown. So I started freelancing.
Mm-hmm.
And so freelancing is all about saying yes,
You're right.
right? Because you just
Yeah.
have to build, your portfolio. And, because I got a buyout. So, I put up my website and all this kind of stuff. And then COVID
Mm-hmm.
hit and I got unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, this is really, my opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I did is read, right? Because good writers are good readers.
Yes.
And I read Shonda Rhimes' book, Say Yes. And so now I say yes to basically everything as long as I'm not going to, hurt myself.
Right.
And
Right. You still have to have boundaries that you don't.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So whenever whoever put me in touch with you, I'm like, okay, yes.
Yeah, and
So
we
I
had to
don't know.
schedule a ways in advance. And so you were like, that's a long way away. It's like, I know, I'm sorry. I always feel a little strange saying, hey, it's far. But you went on a trip in between, right?
Yeah, we went to Australia,
Nice.
down under. It was
Yeah.
great. We saw the women play. We saw the U.S. women. No, I didn't see the U.S. women, but I saw the French play Panama.
Oh, wow.
And I don't really like sports, so it was a very interesting experience.
It's more of
To
a
just be.
cultural
Yes,
experience,
it's a
you know?
cultural experience because there were 40,000 people
Yeah.
in the stadium.
Yeah.
40,000.
Yeah.
And you can see how easy it is to brainwash people because France was the dominant
Mm-hmm.
player, the dominant team. They were expected to win. But the first goal went to Panama.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the audience just shifted to the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
And they were rooting for and it also helped that Panama brought their own band. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm going to do. The next time I have to go on stage or something, I'm like, I'm going to bring my own band.
Yeah, that's a boss move. You
It
bring the
was, and it
party
was
with
so
you.
cool. Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
were like, "No, we came to
Yeah.
play. We came to have fun. We don't care. We don't care whether you think we're going to win or not. That's not important." Because it was
Mm-hmm.
their first time
Because it's a
there at
huge
the World Cup,
celebration to be
and it was
there.
a huge celebration. And it's a tiny country,
Yes, it's
you
a big
know. So
deal.
yeah, they came to play. I love it that they, that the money that they could have, brought dignitaries.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they're like, no, 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 we want to use our money for a band.
Yeah, and isn't it a wonderful thing to celebrate being there
Yes,
and not just being focused on the end result? Like, we made
right,
it. We're here.
right. And we've come to play. We're going to enjoy
Yeah,
every last minute of
yeah,
this.
yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it was great. So that was my big trip. Yeah.
That is a big trip. It's a journey getting down there. It's
Oh, the
far.
journey down wasn't bad because it's only 2 flights.
Mm.
But the time zone difference.
Yes.
It took me 2 more weeks to adjust. I was waking up at 4 in the morning
Mm-hmm.
and hungry at like 9. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean hungry for dinner, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I ate.
The food's good. I went there on my honeymoon. It was a long time ago,
Oh,
but
you
we
did?
really enjoyed it.
Which cities?
We just went to Sydney and then we went up to like the Great Barrier Reef
Yeah,
and
so
up
we did that one, but
Cairns
we
and that
threw
whole
in
thing.
Brisbane as well because
Yeah,
it was 2 weeks.
I've heard Melbourne is also wonderful. One of my
Right.
friends,
Everybody
it's
said,
his
"Oh, you need
favorite
to do
spot.
Melbourne, come
Yeah,
back." And
yeah,
I'm like, I don't know about that plane ride.
yeah, yeah. We haven't been back. When we were there, we are like, oh, we got to go to New Zealand. That was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it has not happened. But so this is what so you wrote the poem. You said yes to me and then you wrote the poem and had you done these prompts
Right.
before? Because a
Okay.
lot
So
of people have.
yeah. So the thing is, I don't think of myself as a poet,
Sure,
so
me
I just said yes,
neither.
no,
Yeah, me
and
neither.
then
No. That's why I'm a good host because I'm like, no, come join me. You don't have to be a poet.
so the other thing, so to do it, I'm an NPR junkie,
Mm.
and my favorite is Scott Simon on Saturday mornings because I can do the laundry and all this kind of stuff. And he had um, the poem Nate. What's his last name? Shoot, I'm forgetting. But he wrote he wrote a book of poetry. He had a collection out called Fitna, as
Mm.
in fitting to,
Mm.
but in uh, African American vernacular, it's just fitness.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the thing? Oh, so he read a poem and it's about Chicago, and Scott Simon loved it and said it was comparable to City of Big Shoulders by, who was it? Who's the big Chicago poet, the old white man who's, ethnic?
I am not good with this stuff. You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah,
If you want
right.
to ask me who was in an 80s sitcom and what their name was, I could be there for you.
So
I would be helpful in
can
that way. But
somebody from the
poets,
audience tell us, who wrote that big poem?
I can look it up too. City of Big
Yeah,
Shoulders. I should know.
yeah, yeah. I want to say Studs Terkel because he's a big time
He
writer,
is a big
you know,
Chicago guy too.
Chicago guy, but it's not him. It's another
It's
one.
Carl Sandburg. It's Carl
It's
Sandburg.
who? It's
it's,
who?
it's Carl Sandburg.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's real poetry. Carl Sanford. Yes.
Yes, that
So
is.
he said it was. So of course I ran out and bought the poem, the book,
Mm-hmm.
and because it's hard to just do it on the radio. You really want to savor it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I thought of. I'm like, I want to do a poem like that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I really want to be on NPR with Scott Simon, but that's another, desire.
Yeah.
I'll separate that from a poem because I'm not a poet.
Yes. So, because you grew up in Chicago, right?
Right. I grew up in Chicago.
Because I
Yeah.
read your Rumpus essay about Cote d'Ivoire, and you were talking about growing up in uh, Chicago
Yep.
in that essay.
I'm definitely from Chicago, but my husband keeps on saying we should go back home, and so I just finished a class about place, and I was so
Mm.
fortunate that one of my instructors from my MFA program agreed to sit in on the class. You know, because she said I put out a call on binders for people who can share essays about place because it was an essay
Mm-hmm.
writing course. And so she put her work out there, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, way to go, girl, because if you're going to put yourself out there like that, then come sit in my class and talk to them. And she said yes, and, zoomed in and everything. Remember? I mean, now it's just say yes, and I think I'm around a
Yeah.
lot of people that do the same now, right?
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so one of the things she said that just really sticks with me is like there's really three places when you think about a place. There's the place you knew, the place you remember, and the place as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with Chicago is it's not the place I remember, nor is
Mm-hmm.
it the place that I knew then. So why are we would go?
I
Because
haven't
we'll
been
be
back.
disappointed.
I went to college in Chicago, and I haven't been back in oh, over 20 years. And I keep thinking about, oh, I'd like to go back. I'd like to see it because I did
So
love
did you
it.
go to college at the University of Chicago, which is in
No,
Chicago proper,
no,
or did you
no.
go to Northwestern, which
I
is in
went,
Evanston?
I know, but I didn't want to name drop because I don't want to be one of those people who's like, So yes, I went
No,
to Northwestern
you
in
have to
Evanston.
name drop because it's not Chicago.
It's the North Shore.
It's the North Shore, and it's
Yeah,
Evanston, and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
But I went in a lot, and my mom first lived in Chicago proper because she flew out of Midway.
Uh-huh.
When she left college, she never graduated college. So when she left college, she lived in Chicago, and um, I don't know. It's a very special city. It was such a different experience for me being from the West Coast.
Oh, oh yeah.
It was
Every time I travel, I mean, travel is just such a useful thing.
yeah,
Because I just like, oh, how can we possibly be a United States? We're so different.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I've parked now. Goody. Okay, so I can read. Did you want me to read?
I do want you to read. Your reception's not great there where you parked though,
Oh,
which I'm sad about.
shoot.
Yeah, because you're a little bit like pixelated.
Really? Because no.
Okay, now you're okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I also want to see the dog. Obviously, I want to
All
hear your
right, here,
poem, but I
dog.
also want to see the
Lizzie's
dog.
sleeping. Here she is. Lizzie, say hi. Lizzie. No. She's
It's
like,
okay.
no.
No,
She loves it in
no.
the front seat, and like I said, her hips are bothering her, so I turn on the seat warmer.
Oh, that's a
She
good
loves
dog's
it.
life. Yeah. Yes. I thought you were going to ask me if I went to DePaul too, but I didn't go there
No,
either. So I didn't go to any of the
most people
places.
don't come out of state, out of the
Oh,
Midwest
to go to DePaul. That's
to
true,
go
I
to
guess.
DePaul.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's mostly Midwestern.
yeah.
Um,
And you don't have the
okay.
twang.
I don't. You're right. I do not. Even though my mom's from Wisconsin, she left, the Midwest when she was like 23.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so she'll only have it come back when she's mad.
Yeah, it's a really subtle thing, but you definitely hear it. Our
Mhm.
accents here in the United States,
Mhm.
they're it's not
Yeah, we
like
got
the
them.
UK. Yeah, we do, we do. All right, so let's hear your poem.
Okay. So, I am from Chicago's Lakeshore Drive to Jackson Park, Rainbow Beach, and the South Shore. I am from bungalows with finished basements, TV rooms, and laundry chutes. On punishment, my siblings and I tied sheets together and tested whether we could escape by dropping my brother down the chute. I am from summer barbecues, Polish sausages, Italian beef, dipped. I'm from fishing when the smelt were running, until you had to stop eating so many because of the poison dumped into the lake. I am from the Red Stick Conrad because my granddaddy took the central route to meet up with his auntie, Miss Blue. Maybe because the dye had messed up her hair? No, her husband's name was Blue. I'm from Mississippi Cherokee before the Trail of Tears. The other grandpa had a picture of his grandmother in her dress blues. It was like the Marines for special occasions only. Photography was new and expensive. I'm from the nuns. I'm sorry, I'm from the nuns. Sister Mary Joseph, Sister Mary Peter, and the songs of Peter, Paul, and Mary on the north side. The Jackson Five next door in Gary, Indiana. I'm from I'm from dancing after a party because the family because everyone else could drink them under the table. And so they were made drunk faster and could dance longer. I'm from say your prayers and they will be answered.
Thank you, Angie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That was beautiful, and that really gives you a sense of place and time.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to do more about the nuns, but I feel like they have a bad rap already.
They do, but I love their names. That's something I really
I
love
do too.
about
It's so
nuns.
rhythmic. It's like,
Yeah,
yes, it's a song.
yeah, and they're unique. Even if you didn't hear the sister before, you'd think, "What's going on there? That's a different name." You know,
Yeah,
there's
and
a
one of the
story.
things I like about religion is the
Yeah,
music.
I
You
think
know,
that's speaking
it's
of cults, like you were talking about with soccer. Music helps, and religion, they know it. You know, they're like, "We'll have the music, bring the people, we good." So um, it's essential, I think, with
Yeah, no,
worship.
it's definitely it's essential for us
Yeah.
because I like the church music, the Catholic Church ritual,
Hmm.
but sometimes I'd go to my grandmother's church and that was hopping boy, and I really like that.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about putting that in there, but and I probably will with rewrite, but at the time it was like no, 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 just go to the next question.
Hmm. Well, if you do rewrite it and you want to send it to me, I'd love to read it. Then I can.
Right, right, right. I have to do that.
Well, do you have any? Because we kind of did this the opposite
Backwards.
order. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other, which is perfectly wonderful, and there's
Right.
no
No,
trouble
it
with it.
is
But
what it
yeah.
is. We're flexible. Just say yes.
Exactly. Well, that's part of saying yes, right? Like you definitely have to be flexible. Rigidity and saying yes, they don't work great together.
No. And in fact, that's my takeaway. Is like I don't have. Because people are like, "Well, would you jump off a bridge?" It's like if
Sorry,
somebody asked you to.
that's
No.
something from
Yeah.
childhood. They're still saying that.
Exactly. You know that's somebody who's just
Yeah,
not. What's the word? Evolved.
yeah, that's definitely the word. Yes.
And
Like
and the
wow, we're
someone
still
is
seven.
usually male.
Yeah. Uh huh. Yep. That tracks.
Yeah. So yeah, no, but I like this, because that was like I said, I got fired at the start of COVID, so I've been keeping this up because
Mm-hmm.
it's I shouldn't say never gone me wrong because that's a knock right, um, but I feel like I've
Mm-hmm.
really opened myself up to opportunities, and it's
Yes.
because you say yes to them. It's not because they're not there. That's the thing I learned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I kept on saying, how come nobody asked me, whatever. It's because you haven't said yes. So yes begets more opportunities,
It
begets more
definitely does.
yes.
Yes, I agree. And also when you reach out to people, which I do too, like, hey, come join me, um, then people know you're open to things. You're open to people. You're like, this is not the space, and most spaces I'm in and spaces I create are not about gatekeeping, you know? It's like, come on in and join me. And I think when you have that and people know that about you, they're more likely to join you and ask you to join them, right?
Right.
It's like this kind of,
Exactly. It's like, you're fun.
yeah,
I think I want to do something else with you.
right.
Yeah.
Like this was a good time. Why not? Because I think we all know too, especially after COVID, like the people that you see more are the people you work with or collaborate with or have something in common with. Like you can't force connection. Like, trust me, I've tried. It's a real time consuming habit. And I've tried to like let it go, you know? Like I don't need to have certain people in my life. Whoever's in my life and wants to be there, that's who I want.
Yeah,
So,
although I do call my father, what, 3 times a year.
well, good for you. Mine's dead. So I don't have to.
You have to go through that.
It's like I don't have to look at my watch and go, oh, okay, or my calendar. It's been X amount of weeks. I gotta check in. Nope. That's crossed off the list.
Mm,
But good for you. I
yeah,
think
yeah, it's
it's important.
enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you have to know.
Well, maybe it's
No,
enough.
I think you have to know what's the right amount for you. You know.
Well, when I say yes, that's that yes to emotional pain, any more emotional pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's putting yourself out there is risky, but the other thing is to recognize when to say no, and no more emotional pain. So I'm not going to do that, but I am going to show respect to the elders, as
Mm-hmm.
crazy as they were, and or are, and I
Yep.
definitely I'm going to vote, whether there's
Yes.
no real selections.
Still
I'm going to
a
vote
selection.
anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So things
Because
like that.
even if the selection is 50 years back or 150 years back, it's still a choice. You know, it's like,
Well,
oof.
it's not just a choice. I just want to exercise, I
Mm-hmm.
want to do my responsibility without, saying, well, there's nobody out there, so why bother? Because that's my responsibility. They didn't say it's your responsibility only if you like them. It said it's your
Also,
responsibility.
it wasn't that long ago that people were fighting for
Right.
your right and my right to
Exactly.
vote.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm keeping that,
Yeah.
even if
Yeah.
it's, because when you look at history, which is just so funny, I know maybe we shouldn't have gotten on this, but you really don't have a set plan, do you?
No.
That when you look at history, it's always been fighting. I mean, it's not. No, we have put. They have literally put old white men on pedestals, right? When it's like,
Yeah.
no, they don't belong there. It's just they're just
No.
people
Yeah.
doing the best they can to.
Yeah. And you can see why they're not so interested in evolution because they just kind of get to be there and
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
be in
Yeah.
charge and have power and continue to consolidate power. And, I mean, they're not really that interested in letting anyone else in.
Yeah.
So, regardless of who they are. So, yeah,
And
vote.
then they'll trip themselves up. I was just thinking about poor Lauren Boebert. I'm like, if you what?
I think you got to know if you ever say, "Do you know who I am?" You're doing it wrong.
You're in
You
trouble.
never want to say that. You never ever want to say that.
One of the things my mother always told me is that if you wait long enough, they'll screw themselves.
Yeah. Same.
Just be patient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, she's
Karma's a
early.
bitch.
Yeah, Carmen. She was
Yeah.
early. I expected her to last a little longer.
She's kind of on an accelerated path, right? Just in general. She goes hard.
That's true.
Like everything she does, she goes real hard. So it's
Yeah,
like,
and we should
okay.
admire that.
It's one way of looking at it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So any last thoughts, Angie, before you take your dog to get her shot?
Yep, her shot.
His
Yep,
shot.
she's good. It turns
Okay.
out it's so weird that she's thyroid deficient, so she loses
You
her
know,
hair.
I think that's pretty common
I
actually.
think that is too.
My
For
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead. Your dog
I
is
think
like that too, or your
my
dog
dog was
doesn't.
struggling with that as well, with
Hmm.
the
Right. So how she
thyroid thing.
manifests it is that she loses her hair, and she has such a
Mm.
beautiful coat. Number one, and number two, every morning we wake up with big balls of hair. So it's like I got finally got tired of sweeping it up to the bed, and even though I love my dog, I don't.
Yeah.
She's not a person, so there's a limit on how much we're going to
Yes.
invest in her, especially since she's 10 years old already. So she's pushing it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that she's still around. I love her. We're going to get another, but it's just like for me, and I have this is a long one. Are we out of time?
You tell this story and then we'll wrap up. You can't not tell the story once you say you're going to tell a story,
Okay,
no matter
so
what time
one
amount
of
of
the
time we have.
great things that happened over COVID, and that's such an oxymoron, is that I started walking every week with my friend Robin, who is a cancer
Mm.
doctor and is immunocompromised. So she's like,
Yes. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I think also taking public transportation, which I did a lot in college. Yeah. She's not wrong. She's not wrong. Oh, it's okay. I think your spot is not going great now. Oh, I was just saying, I think walking is really great. And I think also taking public transportation, which I did a lot of when I lived in Evanston. Yeah. You're breaking up. Sorry, Angie. Yeah, I think I can't really hear you. I think we're done. Okay. Thank you for saying yes. And thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.